Let me welcome you, my dear students, to another exciting session. A session which is really this time focused towards you. Learning how to bring a positive change. In the last session, we learned how to bring and lead a positive change in the organizations. This session would be discussing, we will be learning how to lead a positive change at the personal level. Remember, we were talking how to make a healthy sign and a wellness sign at the physiological level, as well as it should be a profitable carrier and a carrier full of energy at the personal level, and a life and a journey of the life where one should be enjoying, surviving, and thriving. And since it's the last session, and I'm sure you will be feeling quite happy, this is the last session of the course. You've gone through it, submitted the assignments, taken the exams and the other necessary tools of assessment, and you feel a positive change after learning these management skills. Yes, these were management skills required for the 21st century organization. Yes, these are the skills required not only in the office, but maybe at home, in the organization where you go and visit, maybe in the market, in the church, in the mosque. And this session we like to see that at the personal level, is it really change required? Because speaking of the change management, it's the people side of the management. It's a structured process and a set of tools we like to use at the personal level. Remember that PAM's personal assessment of management skill? It's a tool. It's an instrument. We like to use how we can bring in the change in our behavior, in our value system, in our skill set, in our mindset. But speaking of the change, I shared with you, people do resist. And take a look on this data. 36% disagree and 10% strongly disagree to change. Almost half. Almost half of the people working in the organizations, they would like to say, when they are asked, that how is your organization managing people? Almost 50% of them say they are not doing a good job. They like to see and see it in a more professional way, more productive way, more energetic way, more positive way. A way which will make them healthy, which will make them wealthy, which will make them coming back every time and every day full of energy and full of fun. Because when we were learning to bring change in the organization, we said, yes, we create a desire. Same is the case at the individual level. I have to create this desire in me. You see, it's a personal level. I don't need a driver from outside. I have to be leading my own life. I have to find a trajectory where I can put my career to the growth level. Who is going to dictate me? Nobody. So in this session then, we like to learn how can I lead a positive change, a change for me. Because changing and to bring changing the systems and procedures and processes and policies we learned in the last session. We like to learn now that yes, project change and change in the organizations to make it successful, we like to look at the technical side and the people side. It's good enough. We look at the systems and the processes and the procedures and the strategies, technical side. Call it a project. It's easy. We can see where we are. Remember that PAMS, you evaluated where you are at the beginning of the course. And I invite you, take a look on the instrument again, take another copy, without looking at the data which you fill in the beginning of the course, go through those statements again one by one and see what difference after learning and going through this course and feeling the importance of these skills, looking at these dilemmas and the paradoxes of working in the 21st century organization and looking at the pressures. Remember those pressures we talked about on the organization? Don't you feel there are pressures on the individuals as well? Globalization. Isn't this pressure on you and me? It is a phenomena affecting all of us. Information and communication technology. Is it not affecting your life and my life? Look at all these mobile phones in the hands of the students and teachers. Networking with everyone, everywhere, without intervention. That's the way technology is being used, and you cannot stop it. Technical side of handling the change is easy. You want a smartphone? Leave this phone aside, go and get a new one. So change is implemented. But the people side of the change, the personal side of the change is most difficult. And let me share you with that story. Remember that after the dot-com bubble which bursted in the early 21st century, many companies went bankrupt. Many people went bankrupt. Learned people, knowledgeful people, engineers, managers, CEOs, professors. One professor, the campus of Stanford University, walking on the street, using his hat in his hand, asking and requesting people, change please, change please, change please, asking for a quarter or a dime or a dollar coin. Change please, change please. Company is bankrupted. Maybe a young person like you who watched him and went close to him. And when he or she saw him, grown up, mature, looks like a professor, maybe PhD, simply told him, please change. Please change. Changing humans' attitude is most difficult. So my dear students, we need to learn in this session. Sooner we learn it, and sooner we implement it, better it is. People side of change brings success in life, in career, in families, in friends, and of course, then in communities and in the companies. But this requires a paradigm shift, that we have to look towards a destiny which is in future. Risky, I know, risky. But that's the only way to go. We look at where we are now and we improve. And according to the Kaizen philosophy of management, we improve, we change, we sustain. We change, we sustain. We change, we sustain. We change, we sustain. That's the way things have to move. Remember, I shared with you I got my PhD in 1978 from Michigan State. This is a time now that over a period of 30, 40 years, do I have to learn something new and absorb and adjust and change? Are the trends changing? Is it the same set of knowledge? Is it the same set of learning and training? No. I will be irrelevant to the market if I don't learn something new which is coming up in technology, in social sciences, in humanities, in management, in different disciplines, depending upon whatever is your field and whatever is your discipline. So you focus in the future and you take a jump. And when you take a jump, you change your position one step higher. And taking a jump higher requires energy, because you are going against the gravity. Remember, you're going uphill. And when you go uphill, it requires energy. But we need this energy, positive energy, to lead the change. Because positive energy is the sign of health and wellness. All right? So if it's a journey, and I think it's a Chinese quote, journey of 1,000 miles occurs one step at a time. You have to take this step. My dear students, my dear professionals, my dear young managers of Pakistan, ladies and gentlemen, you have to take this step. Step higher, sustain it with the passage of time. Remember, please, you cannot stop the growth of your life. The clock of your life will tick, tick, and tick. You cannot stop. Am I right? If that is so, the only choice you have is that you change your learning. You change your skill set. You change your mindset. You embrace a kind of capability, a kind of competency which makes you relevant with the market, which makes you expert in the eyes of the people. Remember, we learned personal power is your human capital. So who will worry about your human capital? It's you, it's me. And I like to share with you that this capital is yours. This is your personal capital. This must appreciate. And to get it appreciated, it requires change. It requires shifting your position from X1 to X2. And then sustaining it. And then not forgetting it. Then, with the passage of time, changing it again. Learning some new skill again. Learning some new knowledge area again. Learning some new language again. Learning some new music again. Whatever is your area of choice. That calls me that we need to keep on visualizing the future and changing the paradigm. Please notice the word paradigm. This is the model, this is the mindset which needs to be changed. So when you change it, you see a whole new word. But when you restrict yourself, you become slave of yourself. And slaves have no life. They do not enjoy life. Slaves have no freedom, no empowerment. What kind of life is that? So I think we need to learn to take charge of the life, to take charge of the career. And learning of the paradigm, let me share with you, take a look on this slide. And when you look on this slide, notice now the arrow which is on the right-hand side. Black arrow. Can you see this black arrow on the right-hand side? In between the black arrow on the right-hand side and the black solid line on the left-hand side. See the extremes? The black arrow on the right-hand side and the black solid line on the left-hand side. That's your boundary. What do you see there? Take a look. In between the boundary of the black arrow on the right-hand side and the black solid line on the left-hand side. And when you take a look on this, do you see anything? Don't tell me that you see a black space. Yes, you see black space. Black space is there. But besides black space, what's there? Can you see something else? Take a look closely. Focus on the bright side, not on the black side. Black side is the boundary. Put it on the back. See what's coming towards you as a light. Take guidance from the light. Focus between the black arrow on the right and the black line on the left. Do you see a 3-letter word? 3 alphabets. What are those alphabets? Tell me, what are those alphabets? And those of you who have read the word fly, congratulations. And those of you who cannot still see, please change your paradigm. Visualize a new paradigm by focusing on the bright side of the picture. See whether you can see bright side, white side, the letter F on the left-hand side, the letter L in the middle, the letter Y on the right-hand side. Practice it. Let me increase a little bit. Can you see it? Don't feel difficulty. And if you feel difficulty, that means you are habitual of focusing your eye on the darker side of the picture. No problem. Now you learn that whenever you see a new complex situation, how would you look towards, not on the brighter side, not on the negative side, but on the positive side? And once you look on the positive side, you start flying. And when you start flying, you make a trajectory of 40 degrees. It's a growth path. Sooner you do it, sooner you will change your paradigm. And once you do that, remember, the chicken inside the egg is in a different world. The chicken which comes out of the egg has changed its paradigm. Now it's in a different world. So once you focus on the bright side, you are in a different world. You will see a world full of abundance, not scarcity. Both mindsets are there. Yes, we are taught in economics an attitude of scarcity. We look towards factors of production, scarce. Good. But now we also learn an attitude of abundance. In this God's word, there are full of opportunities for those who are ready to embrace, who are ready to change their paradigm. And the way to move forward to change the paradigm is when you focus on the bright side of the picture. Yes, there are difficulties, there are dark spots, there are dark places, but please put them on the back. They are there, but they should not be an obstacle in your way to move forward. That's a personal change recipe. Risk is there. There is no gain without pain. And who will do it for you? Who will find out what is the weak area in the chain of your life? Not your father, not your mother, not your brother, not your manager. Believe me, it has to be you. You have to take a lesson. You have to look at your PAMs. You have to look at your strengths. Be happy with it. You have to look at your weaknesses and come up with a recipe for success. Or, if you think this is your weakness, how to go abide by it. For example, let me share with you. I'm weak in mathematics. Good. But then, when it comes to mathematical assignment, when in my PhD, I had to take a course on group theory and matrix algebra. I have to take a course on quantum mechanics. Part of curriculum. I did it. How I did it, don't ask me. But once a challenge is given to you, please take the challenge. That's the only way to move forward. Now, if you do not do it, if you say, oh, I'm weak in mathematics, how can I take group theories course? How can I sit in quantum mechanics course? How can I learn all these techniques and tools of SPSS? And how can I display the data in the bar graph and the pie chart and, all these derivative calculations, calculus-based calculation? Well, that means the pressure is stopping you. You have put a chain to your feet. Your feet are not moving. You have already changed your mind. Your mind is not moving. So please, don't make slave of yourself. No, chain may be of steel or chain may be of gold. It doesn't matter. It's a chain. And whoever is chained, whether it is chain handcuffed or whether it is a chain in the feet, it's a slave. We need to learn how to come out of the ignorance, change our paradigm, look towards the abundance view of the word, and make our own recipe of success. Remember in the first session, we said we are going to learn, I'm going to recall now, especially those first few 5 or 7 sessions, so that once you take the last session, you can recall and refresh and feel young again, that it's a cyclic way of doing things and be happy with it. It's not only linear, week 1, 2, week 3, 4, and 15. No. In the week 1, we said we like to learn management skill which are needed for my life, for my family, during my friendships, in my relationships, at office, in the market, in the mosque, in the church. Is it true? You tell me. Is it not required? Then we said in the first session, my dear students, high IQ is not good enough. Intelligent quotient is not required alone. It does not guarantee, research tells us, it does not guarantee success in life and work, IQ alone. It's required, yes. What else is required? EQ, emotional quotient. Remember that? And I shared with you this paradox. I don't want to go into the detail of the paradox, but remember in the first session, we read this paradox explained to us by George Carlin. What was the paradox, my dear students? What was the paradox? Remember, we said we have taller buildings, but short tempers. We have more knowledge, but less judgments. We have more experts, but more problems. We have more medicine, but less wellness. We have multiplied our possessions, material possessions, but we have reduced our values. We have more degrees in our hand, but we have less common sense. More knowledge, less judgment. We have multiplied our possessions, and we have conquered outer space, but failed to conquer inner space. So in other words, when you are going to manage the organizations, as a manager, as an officer, as an executive, in session number 2, I raised this question. When you're going to manage organizations after MBA or BBA without managing yourself, how come? It's not possible. We raised this question. So this means the recipe requires change. In session number 3, we said change requires shifts in your knowledge, shifts in your skill set, shift in your attitude. And once you bring this shift, paradigm shift, you will be a different person. You will have a different destiny. You will have a different pay package. You will have a different style of the life. Think about it, implement it, and you will see the result. Of course, we shared these 9 management skills, but remember the 10th leadership skill. And for leadership skill, I shared with you the statements of Professor Quinn. To be effective leader, do you have a vision? Embody a vision of the common good. First, look within. To conquer outer space, my dear students, first look within. Know thyself. Disturb your habit system. Forget about the organization. I'm talking about me. I'm talking about you. We are an organization. We are full of systems. We are looking at the forest. The forest is Gul Muhammad and Gul Fatima. But we are also looking at the trees. All these systems which are made up of. And we like to learn to power ourselves through the moral power. through the power of character, through the power of integrity. That's what an effective leader does. So if that's so, and we said for change and for external positioning of myself, I have to use the advocacy skills. And advocacy skills requires vision. And for the vision then, we said we need to keep in mind importance of these management skills because we like to move our competencies. In session number 5, I said we like to change our behaviors. We have to behave more competently in our own life. We have to bring and foster productivity, healthy, satisfying, and growth-producing relationships with family members, with friends, at office, in the market. And apply them. Recall from session number 5. I'm just recalling. Apply them. Apply them with families. Apply them in friends. Apply them in your community. And this is the list of those competencies. And please take a note on the change competency. That's what we're talking today. The last one. Are you competent enough that you can develop a new position X2 or Y2, depending upon, on the vertical side, you call it Y-axis, and then sustain it. Y3, sustain it. Y4, sustain it. And it's up to you how longer jump you want to make. You want to make a shorter jump? Do it. You want to make a longer jump? Do it. But please do it by yourself. But there has to be a jump. Without jump, you cannot change your position. Yes, it's risky. But as a leader, you have to take the risk. Who will take the risk for you? Nobody. That's why I requested you in session number 6, please develop your personal development plan. Did you do that? Well, if you did that, I requested you a plan which is now, when you're taking the course, and a plan where you want to be in 2 to 3 years. Do you know, in 2 to 3 years, what do you want to do? In terms of your appearance. See, that's number 1. Appearance is an attribute which, first of all, you see from me and I see of you. And immediately, you make an inference. Appearance. Look at your interest. Look at your list of your friends. What is the aim of your life or vision? Now, and 2 to 3 years. What are your personal values? Or dekhiye, personal values, I've listed so many of them, including money. That's there. But besides money, look at popularity. Is it your value? Do you want to be popular among your family members, friends? Do you want to be influential? Do you want to have a giving mindset? I don't have to tell you to be a getting mindset. You will have. But a giving mindset. Do you have this plan in 2 to 3 years? If you don't have, fine. That's good enough. But I've listed few things which are valuable to you at the personal level. Please make a plan. List it down. People who can support me to reach at the level where I want to. Do I know those people? Do I know where they live? Do you know how to approach them? And then, what are my desires and what are my passions? There has to be some desire. Something which you want to achieve. Some passion, which is your burning fire. That's the only way this fire can give you thirst. So you become a missile. You become and develop your own trajectory. Remember, you've taken this exercise? Please take this exercise again. This is those management skills. Your score must improve. Remember, we said in session number 7, if your score is less than 60 on this exercise, not effective, not so good. What is your score now? If it's between 60 and 79, take this test again, please. Very good. And if it's more than 80, congratulations. And keep on moving up. Keep on adding few more management skills and leadership skills into these statements. That brings me to a point then. Recalling these lessons which we learned in the first 7 sessions, that God has given us head, mind, for thinking and for understanding. But we also have heart for emotions. And these are the hands to show our behavior. Let's use all of it. Let us develop a tacit knowledge and an explicit knowledge. Tacit knowledge of hand, tacit knowledge of head, tacit knowledge of heart. Explicit knowledge of hand, explicit knowledge of head, and explicit knowledge of heart. You got 6 different types of knowledge. Think about it. Go into the detail. List it down. What is the tacit knowledge of you in your hand? And what is the explicit knowledge of you in your hand? Explicit knowledge in your hand, which you can use and show on the keyboard. You can write a logical program. Tacit knowledge in your hand, that's the only way you use your fingers, nobody else can do. That's valuable. That's unique. Same is the case with the tacit knowledge in head and tacit knowledge in heart. Explicit knowledge in head and explicit, 6 different types. And when you use all of them, I'm sure change will occur. Because you will keep on, these are prerequisites. These are required, that the tacit and explicit level of the knowledge must improve. आपके हाथ कुछ नई स्किल लर्न करें, नई रेसिपी बनाकर दिखाएं. इन हाथों के अंदर कोई हुनर होना चाहिए. इस दिमाग के अंदर और इस दिल के अंदर कोई शोला होना चाहिए. इस दिमाग के अंदर कोई नया स्पार्क और आइडिया होना चाहिए. Coming back to the head and heart and hands, having all this knowledge, that means, question is, why should I change? I must have the answer. What's in it for me? There has to be something in it for me. And what do I do differently? This gives uniqueness. Remember, in marketing, you call it branding. This is your personal branding. When you show your hands that you have a unique recipe, you can do it differently. वो म्यूजिक जो आपके हाथों की उंगलियों से बनता है, कोई और दूसरा नहीं कर सकता. वो आपका पर्सनल ब्रांड है. What do I do differently? So when you take all this together, you're managing change. And effective change is equal to, number 1, changing mindset. Remember paradigm? Altering mindset. Paradigm is a model. Right here, in your mind. These are assumptions of your life. These are values which you have learned over the past 20 years, 25 years. That's how you will do things. Can it be challenged? Who will challenge? You will challenge. Can you challenge your own assumptions? Put your assumptions to the test. If they don't work, better change it. Take the test. Altering mindset. Because 21st century bringing a lot of changes in front of us. Look at the social media, how it is affecting you and your life. How it is affecting the life of the organizations. Harnessing motivation. And internal motivation is more important than external. Remember what we call it? Intrinsic. That's what we're talking here. Harnessing. Shaping behavior. So when you put all these things together, head, heart, and the hand. Shaping behavior, hands. Harnessing motivation, feelings becoming passions. Burning fire. Altering mindset is a new paradigm where it could be a linear cause effect, it could be an exponential growth, it could be cyclic growth. You change your model. It's all in your hand. Okay, so for the personal change model, let's take a look on this model known as ADKAR. ADKAR, ADKAR. It's based on basic human truths, universal values. Number one, ADKAR model asks us having awareness of surroundings around us and awareness of myself, awareness of yourself. Remember, this was one of the management skill we said, self-awareness. अपने मन में डूबकर पाजा सुरागे जिंदगी. Self-awareness. तू अगर मेरा नहीं बनता न बन, अल्लाह के बंदे अपना तो बन. Remember, that's what the message we got from Allama Iqbal. The need to have control over our life. Who will control the destiny of your life? You. Keep the remote control of your life in your hand. Don't give it away to your father, to your mother, to your brother. Please keep it in your hand. That's the only way to move forward. A quest for growth and knowledge. Remember, I shared with you 6 different types of knowledge. A quest. A hope to make a meaningful contribution. You should leave a legacy. When you are gone, people remember you. You are in their memory. People nurture that memory. People like to be attached with you. People like to call you. People like to be in your company. Meaningful contribution. And the need to be recognized and appreciated. It's a human need. So once we look at this model of change, and keeping in mind that these are the needs, who will do it for you? Who will fulfill these needs? My request is, please make a list and try to fulfill this wish list. This ADKAR model asks us, A is for awareness. It tells us D is for desire. K is for knowledge. Next A is for ability. That knowledge which does not become your ability is no good. رَبِّ زِدْنِي إِلْمًا نَافِعًا. That knowledge which brings profit. That knowledge which is in action. Ability. And the last R is for reinforcement. Yes, reinforcement. The battery needs to be recharged. Do you have a mentor or coach around you who can recharge you? Do you have a father or mother or a brother around you who can recharge you? Reinforcement. If none is available, how do you like to be reinforced? If it's a good cup of ice cream which reinforces you, please go ahead and take it. If it's a good cup of tea or coffee, regardless how expensive this is, go and get that cup of coffee or tea. It will energize you. It's required. It is required to keep on moving. Life requires energy. And life requires strength. And life requires reinforcement. All right, let's take a look one by one. Awareness of the need for change. Why? Please answer this. Need for change. Why? Desire to support and participate in the change, which is my choice. This is my choice. This is the way I want to be. This is the course I want to attend. This is the university I like to go. And I will work for it. I will earn it legally, ethically, morally. Knowledge about how to change. What is the learning process? Remember Peter Sanjay's learning process? Is it adaptive? It is generative. It is transformative. Is it analytical? Which one? Speaking of learning process, It reminds me of Professor Chris Agris. Are you learning in a zero loop? Are you learning in a first loop? Are you learning in a double loop? Are you learning in a triple loop? What is the learning process you have? I've told you 4 loops. Please go and look into them. Chris Agris. Ability to implement the change. Are you a Tismarkha? Can you do it? Can you show me? Can you turn knowledge into action and show you are able? Can you compose a good song? Show me. And that reminds me of that passenger who was mishandled. His guitar was mishandled by a airline company. You know, he was traveling from city A to city B. He had a very expensive guitar. Now, he knew it's expensive. The one who doesn't know about guitar, he won't know how expensive it is. And the airline company, while handling the cargo, they mishandled the guitar and the guitar was broken. He complained. Nobody listened to him. But it's a social media now. He composed a 3-minute song. And he just put it on the YouTube. And you think of it. What happened to then share market of that airline company? See the knowledge in action? So your hand must know and show what it can do. And the last part is reinforcement. To sustain the change. And celebrating success. Remember the cup of ice cream and the cup of tea or coffee I just mentioned? Who will celebrate your success? If nobody is around, do it yourself. You have to show a positive energy in you. You are the sign of hope for yourself and for the country. Please take a look on this slide. Not everyone changes at the same pace. A, D, K, A, R. How many elements? 5 required for change. Not everybody will change same way, same pace. Learn it. Embrace it. People have different pace. Somebody will quickly change its ability. Somebody will quickly learn and raise his knowledge. Somebody would have a lot of desires. So, number 1, you must know your pace. Number 2, if you're working with friends and colleagues and peers in family, please take a note of it. That people are different. That's natural. So live in the nature way. You will be comfortable. See, out of 5 characteristics, which characteristics he is or she is or you are or I am strong. Is it in knowledge? Is it in ability? Is it in awareness? One student in my class, mostly sitting silent. I was worried because there was about 10% of the grade coming from the interaction in the class. After 2 or 3 weeks, I intervened and I asked him, Mr. So, I don't know because you're not speaking. He spoke for 2-3 minutes. Believe me, the way he spoke for 2-3 minutes, it gave me a glimpse that he is an ocean of knowledge. He has a lot of depth. His speaking of 3 minutes was equal to 30 minutes of others. So please, find out what is the strength. And same is the case here. You make a profile in the organization of person A, B, C, or D. And once you make a profile, and once you know people are different and they change at a different pace, and you provide a comforting zone for yourself and for others. But please keep in mind this saying of Leo that everyone thinks of changing the world, but no one thinks of changing himself or herself. And in this session, that's why I'm focusing on you and on me, that it is very easy that you can count the number of wings of the flying bird, but you don't count how many wings you have inside you. I know you are so smart. You have IQ. What is your EQ? And please take a look on the universal truth. So my dear students, coming to the last part of this course and speaking about you and about me, let us learn from the universal truth. What is the universal truth? God says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and He says it, and He says and says the truth. Truth for all times. That God does not change those who do not want to change themselves. Inna Allah la yughayyiru ma biqawmin hatta yughayyiru ma bi anfusihim. You have to change yourself. You have to find a way out. God is saying, the world is expecting that you have to change and visualize a new paradigm. 21st century is requiring more and more as compared to the past centuries that this adaptation of the change mindset is the sign of life. So please, while you leave this course and you leave me and I leave you, make a commitment with yourself that you will embrace change. You will change your career, change your life, and change good for yourself. And you will feel proud of yourself, a proud manager, a proud human being, a proud Pakistani. I know in the days and the months and the years to come, the word Pakistan and Pakistani, we have a lot of strengths. We need to express this. And we need to let us change the paradigm that we will focus on our strengths and we will change our weaknesses into strengths by using these management skills and these leadership skills. May God help you and may God help me. Thank you and thank you very much. I have learned from you. I'm sure you must have enjoyed learning from me. And the will together is, let us learn and share whatever we have learned to others so that you make a meaningful contribution the way I try to make a meaningful contribution to your knowledge as a citizen of Pakistan. And we all thank the Virtual University of Pakistan of letting us learn these management skills and the leadership skills which will change the paradigm of the companies and the persons who will come across us. Thank you and thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum and Khuda Hafiz.